This episode contains discussions of domestic violence, psychological abuse, grooming of minors, and suicide. Listener discretion is advised. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE. If you're having thoughts of suicide, please call or text 988 to reach the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Help is available 24 hours a day. There's something intimate about letting someone mark your body forever. As a tattoo artist, you see all kinds of love stories play out in your chair. But sometimes, what looks like love isn't love at all.
Hey everybody, I just want to let you know that I'm alive and well, and life's been kind of crazy the couple past weeks, months, years.
In April 2024, a 30-year-old woman named Mica Miller was found dead at Lumber River State Park. The official ruling was suicide. But before she died, she left a warning.
If I end up with a bullet in my head, it was not by me. It was JP.
5 years earlier, Mica sat in a tattoo chair in Myrtle Beach. Her husband, Pastor J.P. Miller, stood over her as the artist prepared to tattoo his signature onto her body, a permanent mark of ownership that would become part of a pattern, one of control, fear, and what her family calls grooming that began when she was just a child. This is the story of a young woman who thought she found God's love, but instead found herself trapped in what prosecutors now call a decade-long nightmare. This is The Signature. I'm Jonny Llama, and this is Episode 1, His Mark. The tattoo artist remembers them clearly. The young woman was nervous, fidgeting in the chair. The pastor stood over her, watching intently as his signature was permanently etched into her skin. A mark of ownership that would become just one piece of a devastating puzzle. On April 27, 2024, at 10:13 a.m., a Ring camera captured 30-year-old Mica Miller leaving her home on Margarita Drive in Myrtle Beach for the last time. Less than 5 hours later, she would be found dead at Lumber River State Park. But to understand what really happened that day, we need to go back. Back to when a 14-year-old girl first caught the eye of a 28-year-old married pastor.
And I totally opposed it. There was things that were going on that were just baffling me.
That's Michael Francis, Mica's father, in an interview with News Nation.
Him having matching tattoos to her, and then he even had her. He had a tattoo put on her of his signature. He owned her. That's what he felt like.
In 2009, Michael Francis's teenage daughter began attending youth group at Solid Rock Ministries. The charismatic pastor, J.P. Miller, was married with children. He was also the man who would later put his signature on more than just church documents. In 2009, Solid Rock Ministries was the place to be if you were a teenager in Myrtle Beach. The youth group met every Wednesday night in a converted warehouse off Highway 17. The walls were painted electric blue, and the sound system pumped out Christian rock music that made parents cover their ears. At the center of it all was J.P. Miller, young, charismatic, and according to former members, magnetic.
Listen, if you ever want to know what I'm going through in life, it's always about what I'm preaching about. God is so good to do that every single time. One day I'm going to preach about getting rich, strong, healthy, and finding a hot wife that loves Jesus. That's what I'm going to do.
That fall, 14-year-old Mica Francis walked through those blue doors for the first time.
It all started when she turned about 16 or so is when that actually started getting out of hand.
This is Anna Francis, sister of Mica Miller, in an interview with Jennifer Wood of Fitz News.
He convinced her to move away from our family and live with people from the church, saying our family is not good Christians, not good for her. As the years went on, she would come and talk to us and then get out of our lives.
By 2017, Mica had gone from youth group member to church babysitter to J.P. Miller's second wife. Behind the scenes at Solid Rock Ministries, something darker was brewing, a truth that would remain hidden until J.P.'s first wife, Allie Williams, finally broke her silence in her May 2024 emergency custody motion.
He confessed to me and to church elders about being sexually inappropriate with underage girls in the church. When I tried to report it, the girls were too scared to come forward. The police said no one would believe me because he was a respected pastor.
By 2012, Mica was spending more time at Solid Rock than at home. She'd become the church's primary babysitter, watching JP's children while he and his first wife, Allie Williams, led services. But Allie was starting to notice something wasn't right. By late 2015, JP had divorced Allie Williams under circumstances that would later raise serious questions. Less than 2 years later, in 2017, when Mica was 22, the church celebrated as their dynamic young pastor married the youth group girl who'd become their children's babysitter. But not everyone was celebrating. For the next 5 years, Mica led the women's ministry and worship team at Solid Rock Church. But behind the carefully curated social media posts and Sunday morning smiles, cracks were beginning to show. According to former elder Bernard Kennerson, what had once been a congregation of nearly 700 people across 2 services would dwindle to less than 50. Bernard Kennerson, in a News 13 interview, said about John Paul,
"Your only option if there was a problem, especially a problem with John Paul, the only option you had was to leave, and to leave quietly."
By January 2023, Mica had separated from JP, moving in with an elderly church member named Diana. JP's response was swift. He banned Diana from Solid Rock Church for harboring his wife. February 8th, 2024, Conway Medical Center. J.P. Miller arrives with papers, claiming his wife is having a mental breakdown.
She was completely lucid,
A hospital staff member stated.
but he had taken her purse, her car keys. She had no way to leave.
2 days later, Mica was discharged. According to police reports, she discovered JP had taken her car from the Walmart neighborhood market parking lot where she'd left it. March 3rd, 2024. Mica files her first police report about harassment at Wicked Tuna Restaurant. JP's texts were becoming more frequent. "Enjoy your oysters," one said while she was at a family gathering. Another asking, "How was Valorous?" after she attended another church. March 5th, 7 a.m. Second police report filed at Conway County Clerk. Multiple emails, calls, texts, letters, and something more disturbing, razor blades found in her passenger side tire. March 11th, 1 a.m., Springmaid Pier parking garage. 3 more razors in her tires, and underneath her car, a GPS tracking device. That afternoon, she files for a restraining order at Surfside Beach Magistrate Court. While there, witnesses report seeing JP driving by slowly in a white Honda Accord. Then came the anonymous posts. private photos of Mica appearing on social media, photos she had only ever sent to one person, her husband, J.P. Miller. March 18th, 2024. Mica Miller goes live on Facebook. It would be the first of 5 videos that would later become crucial evidence. Over the next 10 days, Mica would post 4 more videos, each one more urgent than the last.
Jesus took it all for you. So you don't have to stay in a abusive relationship, whether that's sexual, whether that's somebody forcing you to take illegal drugs, or alcohol abuse, or physical abuse, psychological abuse, making you think that this is all your fault, or you're a bad mom, or you're a bad wife.
In her final video, she referenced a song by the Christian band Cain, saying she was making the enemy so mad today. But it was what she said next that caught investigators' attention.
If anything happens to me, look deeper. There's more to this than anyone knows.
April 27th, 2024. A detailed timeline emerges. 10:13 a.m. Ring camera captures Mica leaving her home on Margarita Drive. At 11 a.m., she returns briefly, appearing agitated. 11:38 a.m., the camera records her final departure. 12:12 p.m., security footage shows her entering Dick's pawn shop. At 12:34 p.m., she is seen purchasing a Sig Sauer handgun. 1:15 p.m., her car pulls into Circle K convenience store. 1:45 p.m., her final cell phone ping near Lumber River State Park. At 2:37 p.m., park rangers discovered Mica's body near the riverbank. The official cause of death would be ruled suicide. But what investigators would find in the coming months would raise disturbing questions about her final hours. That Ring camera footage from her home on Margarita Drive? It captured something else that morning. Something that wouldn't be discovered until the FBI raid in November. Next time on The Signature, Allie Williams reveals what really happened during her marriage to J.P. Miller, and we discover why the FBI has been investigating Solid Rock Ministries' finances for the past decade. I'm your host, Jonny Llama. If you want to help us continue investigating stories like Mica's, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. The Signature is a TacoCast Studios production, written and produced by Jonny Llama. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE.